With the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, it changed everything. This was a year in which literally everything was put into a grinding halt, where we couldn't go to movie theaters, we couldn't go to our favorite restaurants, work out at the gym, travel, go to conventions, and in my case, go to concerts and open air festivals. 2020, we can all agree, was quite the year where all of us were losing our fucking minds. But with 2021, it looked like everything was getting slowly back to normal, with the vaccines, getting our autism upgrades, concerts slowly opening up, the movie theaters opening up with the onset of Godzilla vs. Kong, which actually saved movie theaters' lives, where a good chunk of them shut down. But getting back on the topic onto music, it turns out that everyone had that cabin fever way too hard with the onset of the tragedy that befell on Astroworld in November 2022 with Travis Scott. So that happens and shit went down. It was quite a horrific tragedy, I would say. But to a lot of people, it reminded them of another certain open air festival where not only did it go out of control, it was doomed right from the start. Because everyone partied way too hard. Why? Well, it was the year 1999. Yep, Woodstock 99.
We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be.
Hey everybody, this is Atticus the Death Miller, and welcome to another longly awaited episode of the Death Metal Historian, aka the bootleg version of Absolute Mad Lads. And yes, people, we are detailing on one of the worst events ever in open air music festival history, Woodstock 99. What was supposed to be a refreshing 30th anniversary of Woodstock ended in absolute disaster. With the location, the expensive prices on water, the lack of employment, and the roster of the bands and the musicians, everything just culminated into one beautiful, I would say that sarcastically, it all culminated to an absolutely beautiful Renaissance painting of destruction. So, how did Woodstock 99 go from bad to worse? Well, as our Lord and Savior Varg Vikernes always says, take it away.
Let's find out.
It is 1999, the end of the 20th century and the dawn of the 21st. To a lot of people like myself who were born in this decade, we consider the 90s as our holy nostalgia. But to a lot of people who are older than us 90s kids, the 90s were actually batshit fucking crazy. Most of the events that I have listed down below are some of the ones that I have covered on the series. The Gulf War, Ruby Ridge, LA 92, Waco, the collapse of Yugoslavia, Rwanda, Oklahoma City, O.J. Simpson, Princess Diana, Columbine, and let's not forget the most absolutely infamous moment of the 90s, Blowjob Gate.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
It seemed that the 90s were a time of craziness with all the events that I've just brought forth. And what the world needed most was some of that peace, love, unity, and respect. That plur from the 60s. So promoters Michael Lang and John Shear band together and just said, fuck it! Since this decade has been so batshit insane, let's vibe with the nostalgia crowd and bring back Woodstock for its 30th anniversary. What could possibly go wrong? Actually, a lot of things went fucking wrong from the very start. What followed was 4 days of mayhem, vandalism, poor living conditions, violence, and sexual assault, being one of the most poorly planned and most infamous open air festivals of all time. So here in this episode, we are going to be detailing why Woodstock 99 became an absolute disaster right from the start. Since it was the 30th anniversary of Woodstock, Lang and Shear decided to have it take place in New York. Much like that of Bethel in 1969, besides New York City, the three major cities in upstate New York were that of Syracuse, Buffalo, and Rome. Rome was the third most populated city in upstate New York, so seeing that this year's Woodstock would take place in their town was a big bonus for Rome, and that it might add to tourism for decades to come. Yet it wouldn't. So where would the festival be held at? Was it going to be held in an area where it's out of downtown area in a grassy field where participants would set up tents and camp out as well as enjoy laying out in various trees and washing off in streams like that of Bethel? Fuck no. They decided to do it in a fucking air base. Griffiths Air Base, to be more precise. It was put into use in the 1940s during the Second World War, where it was used for aircraft maintenance for the military. There was some turf on the air base, but to factor that it was 100 degrees made things so much worse. Noodles, the guitarist for The Offspring, made a comment on the location for Woodstock, saying, "We played this festival in Nuremberg at an old Third Reich park. So I've played a venue that was literally built by Hitler that was more hospitable than that Air Force base was." You know you fucked up monumentally when the guitarist for The Offspring said that he played at an area that was built for Hitler, more hospitable than that air base was. You done fucked up. The 69 lineup was very memorable, where it had such legends such as Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane, Creedence Clearwater, Grateful Dead, and of course, Jimi fucking Hendrix with an epic Star-Spangled Banner guitar solo. Which, my god, the GOAT. Am I right, guys? But what would Woodstock 99 have in their roster? Well, during the 90s, most people would assume that one of the most major styles of music would be that of the grunge bands like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden. Sadly, Nirvana was no more due to Kurt Cobain's death, and grunge was losing its edge at the turn of the century. But a new subgenre of music during the late 90s was taking the world by storm. Nu metal. Yes, despite on how corny and cringy nu metal is to some of you, it was getting so much hype during the late 90s. Two titans of nu metal just so happened to be on the roster, which were the ever so immortal Korn and Limp Bizkit. We'll talk about them later on this video. Also on the list were artists like Seven Dust, Rage Against the Machine, Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Offspring, as we mentioned earlier, DMX, rest in peace his soul, Ice Cube, Aerosmith, Willie Nelson, Metallica, Foo Fighters, praise Jesus, and also rest in peace Taylor Hawkins, Godsmack, Kid Rock, and ICP.
Fuck this shit! Shit! My bag! My bag! Oh God, my bag!
So this roster was just an absolute variety pack for everyone, right? Well, they were gonna get that variety pack, and it was gonna be bad. Well, for the one in 69, it was all about peace, love, unity, and respect at a time where it was so desperately needed, given all the circumstances. But for 99, not so much. It's like Lang and Shear just either put on a list of artists and bands that were really hot at the time, or did a game of drunken dartboards on what artists to put on the roster, because holy fucking shit, it would be disastrous for everyone. Both the promoters should have really done their homework on how absolutely massive the turnout should have been for the 4-day festival. But instead of taking many precautions, they just bragged about on how awesome it was going to be. And they were going to get that turnout for all the wrong reasons. The attendance was just over 220,000 people. So all of you guys know that I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. So imagine, the siege of Minas Tirith, with the armies of Mordor being 200,000. Well, imagine it having 20 more orcs. Yeah, that's how massive this event was gonna be. But no fret, everyone. At least Lang and Shear came prepared for all this, where they had over 3,000 private guards, hundreds of Woodstock Peace Patrol volunteers, 500 New York State troopers, and various local police. Also, 2,500 porta potties were dispatched across the festival. So, things would go smoothly, right? Actually, no. You have to remember, this was taking place at an airbase where there was no comfortable place to chill, as well as shade, given the few truck holes where people decided to seek shelter from the sun. And you also had to stay hydrated for the next 4 days. Remember, this was your life for 4 days, and you had to keep fucking hydrated. Concert goers had two choices. One was buying a bottle of water for $4, $6.20 adjusted for inflation, or stand in line for the free faucet water from the spigots that was sparsely located across the campus. And boy, those line waits took fucking hours. Soon, tensions went from bad to worse given the frustrations of those waiting in line, in which people said, "Fuck it, I'ma get me my water," and proceeded to break down the water lines to rehydrate. This caused pipes to burst, and thus water streamed over to the porta potties. And speaking of that, for the past 4 days, they were all used for 2 days. 2 days. Now, I gotta give a little small tangent on porta potties. I never use them to take an absolute massive shite. I just don't. I never do. I only use it to just go inside, close the lid, hold my nose, and just take a massive piss of the gods while trying not to breathe. Because, like, even talking about this, like, it really makes my stomach queasy, and I feel like fucking throwing up. Oh, hold on a minute.
A few moments later.
Oh God. Yeah, that's just my little tangent on porta potties, because, like, as useful as they are, I fucking hate having to talk about them and having to experience them. But you gotta do with what you gotta do. So with the frustrations of not getting your free water, breaking the pipes, and having it seep into the porta potties, yeah, you get a feel of dipping into the Ganges River, my friend. So you know the images of those that played and laughed in the mud in '69? Yeah, well, in '99, they were doing that in their own shit. Yeah, if I was there, I'd get the fuck out. Screw not seeing Korn or Limp Bizkit or ICP. I want to get the fuck out of here. I don't want to smell shit or swallow in my own shit for the next 4 days. As for security that I mentioned earlier, well, it wasn't enough. They, right from the start, never had a fucking chance. One Peace Patrol volunteer stated, "Sign the sheet and you're certified security." Even the real cops knew any better as well. Numerous state troopers were suspended for their time in Woodstock 99 for posing with nude women, as well as making very suggestive comments. I mean, 1312 anyway. By the end of the festival, only half of the staff remained, because 4 of those days were all just one of those days. So, all of you have made it to this part where all of you are most interested in the set of Limp Bizkit. Now, to give up a little tangent on Limp Bizkit, I've had a very on and off relationship with the band. Not that I knew Fred Durst, Wes Borland, or the other guys personally. Let's just say I've had a very complicated history of the band Limp Bizkit, just because, like, when I was young, I actually loved listening to them, and then when I, got into college, I started to really hate them because they were corny as fuck, especially with, like, my music taste being, like, Malevolent Creation, Cannibal Corpse, Death at the time. So I was like, ugh, Limp Bizkit sucks. Meanwhile, Cannibal Corpse is awesome. I still love Stay Night Korn, though. I was really fucking weird back then. But nowadays, I just see Limp Bizkit as a band that really was one of the spearheads of nu metal and also put Jacksonville on the map. That's just one of the most unfortunate things living in Jacksonville, because I tell people I live in Jacksonville and I mention Limp Bizkit, they're like, oh God, Limp Bizkit. But, I don't mind Limp Bizkit as I used to anymore. They're an okay band. I do love Significant Other and Chocolate Starfish. Those are my two favorite albums off of Limp Bizkit. Since I mentioned that nu metal was taking the world by storm, Limp Bizkit was the spearhead of the popularity of nu metal. They released their sophomore release, Significant Other, as I mentioned earlier, and the 5-piece band was hot shit at this point in their careers. So when Jacksonville's finest entered the stage, shit went down. And I mean it went down. The frontman Fred Durst did what he did best by making them go crazy with the small amount of energy and adrenaline that they had.
We walked on stage and it was that wave of people bouncing as far as you could see. Hundreds of thousands of people, and it was the most amazing adrenaline pumping moment that I've ever experienced, and I was so amped and ready to rock, and we just did what we do.
And by the time that the band played their song Break Stuff, oh boy, you know there was gonna be something to break.
How many people here ever woke up one morning and just decided it wasn't one of those days and you're gonna break some shit?
So you all know the saying, party like it's 1999. I do think that the whole saying was derived off of Woodstock 99, especially on Limp Bizkit's set. Because holy shit, the festival goers decided to take floorboards and release their frustrations out on that one song. And of course, this is where you got the iconic Gen Zers crowd surfing on plywood. Fucking legend right there. To a lot of people, including the band's perspective, this set was the peak of their entire career, the best show that they have ever performed. As epic as that song was performed for the masses, the media later took this as ammunition to absolutely vilify not just nu metal, but metal in its entirety. Yes, Limp Bizkit indeed bore the absolute brunt of the turnout of Woodstock 99, mostly due to Fred Durst hyping the crowd, where he broke the gas pedal. But he did not spark the absolute worst moments of the festival. The worst moments of Woodstock 99 happened at the closing set of the legendary alternative rock band Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, just another tangent, just like with what I did on Limp Bizkit. Red Hot Chili Peppers has always been a very special band for me and my family, because even though my family does not like the music that I listen to, like death metal, but if there's one band that we all really love listening to, would be that of Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, how can you not deny them? They're just an amazing rock band. Just one of the best rock bands of the late 80s all the way through the 90s, 2000s. Just a really good band. Anyways, the anti-gun organization PAX gave out 100,000 candles, probably in memory of those that probably died in Columbine 2 months prior. We're giving out instructions that the audience would light them during their song Under the Bridge, which is actually a really, really good song. As Brian Hyatt of the Rolling Stone reported, the peace candles became the kindling for the fires that became part of the riot. As bonfires began spreading, as well as angry concert goers bringing down the towers, Rome's Major, Joseph Grispo, asked the vocalist Anthony Kiedis to be the voice of reason to calm down the crowd. As Grispo recalled over Kiedis' response, what do you think they're gonna do? Listen to me? I mean, you have to remember, this was a horde of 220,000 people amassed in this airfield. They were all dehydrated, sunburnt, covered in their own waste, angry, tired, pissed off. Who was going to listen to them? Nobody! But against the death metalers, the majority of them were all white men, so they can't listen to the authority figures because they're all white privilege.
Can you, like, shut up?
I'm sorry, but if you were not a white person that had to deal with this absolute bullshit for the past 4 days, living in your own shit, being sunburnt, dehydrated, and almost no clothes around, and just poor living conditions, yeah, you would lose your fucking mind as well. The Chili Peppers ended their set with their cover of Hendrix's Fire under the request of the late Hendrix's sister, claimed by drummer Chad Smith. Kiedis even quoted saying, "Holy shit, it's like apocalypse now out there." Even Flea asked Kiedis if he wanted him to go through it, which Kiedis responded, "Fuck yeah, let's do it!" And oh boy, did they go off. More bonfires grew and grew. Even a Mercedes-Benz was flipped over, to which that too caught on fire. The whole festival was becoming LA 92 Electric Boogaloo. But confided with toxic white privilege masculinity instead of just the absolute angers of institutional racism. And speaking of toxic white privilege masculinity, I unfortunately saved the worst for last. It is a sad state of affairs that with every venue and open air fest that every woman is gonna get groped, sexually harassed, and even assaulted at these events. Now with today's world, with the Me Too movement has taken great seriousness, it has spread more further awareness over these acts on women. But in a post-Me Too world, especially in Woodstock 99, it was pretty fucking bad. So you have to remember earlier where a lot of police officers were suspended due to making highly sexual comments as well as posing with naked women at those 4 days. Well, that's how a good majority of women were like in those grueling 4 days, due to the brazen heat as well as reliving the peace, love, unity, respect of '69. But you have to remember, with the lineup that had nu metal where a bunch of angry, dehydrated, and pissed off men were out there, and seeing a bunch of scantily clad as well as nude women, it was a recipe for disaster. And yes, contrary to popular belief, all the women were not asking for it. It is not an invitation for you to absolutely boink the shit out of her. Absolutely no. During the sets of Korn and Limp Bizkit, a lot of sexual assaults occurred. 4 confirmed cases were made by state police. But the media personnel and staff during the time estimated that the numbers were way higher. I mean, look at some of the footage yourself.
Attention all parents. Report to your local...
Woodstock 99 should be remembered for what it truly was during those 4 days of July 22nd, 25th, 1999. An absolute disaster. With the location, the lineup, mismanagement, human waste, overpriced refreshments, riots, vandalism, and sexual assault. It was a crazy combination of what the 1990s really had to offer within Generation X. Now, as I stated earlier, Limp Bizkit was the sacrificial lamb on why the sets of events were taking place at Woodstock 99. Even when the riots and bonfires on the Red Hot Chili Peppers said, the media chose to use Limp Bizkit's music.
And then to watch the news reports of the mashup of our day and the next day where the fires were, and cutting that into our set at the same time was just like, they were just like, let's make this worse.
That's what you
They found an opportunity to point a finger.
Now, as much as I have a sordid history of liking and disliking the band, they're absolutely blameless on what they did. For what I really do blame are the 2 promoters for the whole festival, Michael Lang and John Shear. Now, I just have to say, these 2 have the most to blame for with what happened. They wanted a huge crowd. They wanted to have a bunch of money, but they absolutely soared the prices for all the refreshments. There was just no consideration on why they chose the Griffiths airspace. Why they want to do it for 4 days. They should have chose a very more comfortable place, and not to mention the lineup. Oh God, the lineup, especially the lineup. Especially in this chaotic area with human waste and just absolute anarchy and chaos, and also many women sexually assaulted. All that shit is on your hands. Don't blame Limp Bizkit. Don't blame Red Hot Chili Peppers. It is those 2 promoters that are the ones to blame for these crazy set of events. Like literally. Absolutely, literally. If everything would have gone to plan and everything was set accordingly, as in location, accommodations, management, security, etc., Woodstock 99 would have gone very smoothly, yet it didn't. What would have been a great tourist boom for Rome, New York has instead met an unknown spot in upstate New York. The population is over 32,253 people. The unemployment rate is 3.3%. The population majority is retirees of the boomer generation. And, also conservative. So they almost love listening to Vorchito Blow. Oh God, why did I ever discover this fucker? But what have we all learned from the faults of Woodstock 99? Well, a good thing for many huge open air festivals as time went on with the turn of the millennium was that better locations were made, more extra precautions for accommodations, as well as the onset of the Me Too movement in the late 2010s, where sexual assaults towards women are now taken more seriously. Aside from, well, Astroworld last year. So what are your guys' thoughts and opinions on Woodstock 99? Did you like this topic? Did you dislike this topic? What were some of your favorite bands on the roster for Woodstock 99? Were any of you ever present in Woodstock 99? Did you ever partook in the mayhem on Limp Bizkit's set? Leave it all down on the comments below. And as always with this series, I have a Discord server, so if you guys want to be part of the festivities on my Discord server, my Discord information on my stories on Instagram, so if you follow me on Instagram, please follow me, and then hopefully you can check out my stories, see the info on where my Discord account is, and I'll get you in on my group, my Discord server. So come up with a lot of ideas. There's been a lot of ideas on the server, and we do voice chats every 2 weeks on a month, because I also do Shade server as well. So yeah, there's that. And stay tuned for more videos to come. Without further ado, ladies and gents, I am Atticus the Death Metaler. Hope you like this video. Subscribe to my channel. Links are down in the description below. Keep it metal. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Have an excellent and blessed day, y'all. Prost.